Hi, everyone. Yeah, I got the look. I didn't realize it had started. Today is, what do they call it? Sunday Fun Day?
I guess.
Sunday Fun Day. We just wanted to, I was going to say hop on. Someone told me once that they get really annoyed by that term, hop on, when people go live on Facebook.
So we systematically structured some time to come and talk on Facebook.
We are living it. So hope that your Sunday is going well. It's dark because we are surrounded by all kinds of storms and stuff coming through.
Yep.
But we wanted to spend some time today sharing some relationship hacks. Like hashtag. So we wanted to share just some thoughts about how to build on your relationship, how to strengthen your marriage with rest and play and creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those are things that are, I think a lot of times in our relationships, just like in life, right, we look to the big things to be the answer, right? When you think of happiness and joy, you think of like vacations and like...
Right, and then you live for those moments, right?
Right.
Like, oh, I can't wait for the next 8 months when we might get to go on vacation again. Or,
right.
You know, because life was so perfect then.
Right. And then you miss out on where you are in this moment and all the good stuff happening now. So we have over time found the importance of rest and play and creativity in our relationship. I think for me, I think a kind of a turning point for me was when we have some dear friends, Carla and Jenna, and they do some equine-assisted therapy and psychotherapy with Warrior Mission at Ease at Quantum Leap. So hello, Quantum, and all the amazing work that you're doing there. But they did, for our 20th anniversary, as good friends, because what does a therapist do for a 20th wedding anniversary?
They go get therapy?
Take her husband, take her partner into the arena.
I just wanted a boat.
So Shaman and I spent some time with Carla and Jenna, and I'm Yolanda, by the way. Hi. Shaman and I are both co-founders of Harper Therapy. And so for our 20th anniversary, we were at Quantum in the arena with the horses doing some creative stuff. And it was so much fun. It was so much more fun than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was.
And there was a lot of creativity that went in play that was incorporated into that session. So I think that was a big turning point for me to realize. And definitely over time, just kind of realizing the connection that can come in those moments. So what are some thoughts about?
Well, I mean, in the way it kind of helps you, or at that time, that kind of helped you work through what are very practical problems. You know, part of the process they took us through was they created a very creative, playful kind of scenario with the horses that you work through, right? Mm-hmm. And it kind of forced you have to think outside the box a little bit, you know.
For sure.
And I think that's what a lot of creativity and play and rest can bring to a relationship.
You do get in that rut. Right. Especially in that messy middle that we talked about before in relationships where you're just kind of in the drudgery of day-to-day life. You're in that rut. I mean, you've got the same routine.
And you can't see past it.
Right.
I mean, we mentioned
it's survival.
Yeah, we mentioned it like last week with the grind.
Right.
Right, that phase where it's just, you know.
So some benefits for breaking out of that grind would be?
Well, it relieves stress.
Yeah.
You know, I think you could argue it gets the brain juices flowing a little bit, increases some brain function.
Yeah, and laughter and play, I mean, that's a release of those endorphins, those feel-good chemicals and the connection chemicals.
It stimulates the mind, you know, it boosts further creativity, so that I think creativity kind of begets creativity.
Yeah.
You know, the more you, it's like anything else, the more you put it into practice, the more and the easier it can come, and the more you can do it, and the more you can put it into practice, and the more it continues having benefit to you.
Yeah,
your relationship, right?
Yeah,
you know, it can keep you feeling young and energized, right? I mean, think when you stop playing and you stop resting the mind and you stop being creative, and no matter what avenue that is, you start getting older.
I do think that, especially in our society, like play is for kids, right?
Right.
We very much diminish the importance and, yeah, I mean, the importance of play as we get older. As we're adults, it's all about our responsibilities and duties. And those definitely are important, but it's also just as important to play. You know, the neuroscientist Dan Siegel has what he calls the healthy mind platter. It kind of mimics like the healthy food platter. But, you know, definitely rest, creativity, connectedness with other people, as well as the work that we do. All of that is important for our brain health, for our overall well-being.
Right. I think it's fair to say that as you put some play into your relationship and some creativity into your relationship and some rest time, it helps improve your connection.
So this is definitely another one of those avenues that I have recognized as a benefit in our relationship together. So having those moments of play, because I'm the serious one in this dynamic. I tend to be overly serious, and so Shaman's a good balance for me with that. In play, in connection, in creativity, and rest together, that gives a good foundation for when you go through some of the harder things as a couple. As we're going through harder things as a couple, we can pull memories of those playful moments, of those creative moments, of those other connective moments,
right,
into those hard things, and that's what helps fuel your willingness.
It helps bring down those walls, right?
Yeah.
You know, and it gives you good tools in practice to make it easier to bring down those walls, because it kind of fosters vulnerability. There's a certain amount of vulnerability in creativity.
Absolutely.
There's a certain amount of vulnerability in play.
Right.
You know, and you could probably say there's a certain amount of it in rest as well, right?
Absolutely.
I'm letting the walls down. I'm outside my structure.
Yeah.
You know.
So the definition of vulnerability: uncertainty, risk, emotional exposure. Those are so key in our relationships, and they're so key, that vulnerability, that practicing that vulnerability in a way that feels a little bit more comfortable through creativity. Every time we do something creative together, he really has to like talk me through it, because I have that moment of, a lot of times what we do creatively is like some painting. When I'm putting that first brush stroke on the canvas, I'm like almost in panic attack mode, right?
Because you're trying to structuralize it. Right?
I'm the perfectionist.
Right.
So that vulnerability and that doing that activity together allows me to have that experience of him supporting me through that vulnerability, and just deepens that intimacy and deepens that connection. So that's super important.
Well, and I think as a result of that, it just kind of improves cooperation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of a natural part of that. So then all of a sudden now, through just playing and resting and having creativity, you're actually building healthy things into your relationship.
It matters. It counts. Like, these things count. I think for me, as like the serious one, and like always the, like, you know, looking at productivity and how does this, you know, like, how is this going to count? Whatever, it counts, right? These interactions, they matter in our relationships more than I ever anticipated.
And particularly in rest. You know, if you can put a good practice of rest into your relationship, into your life, it really helps you focus and kind of builds that foundation to plan, you know, further.
None of us are at our, I'll speak personally, I am not at my best if I'm not well rested. I am not fit for human consumption, to say the least. I'll own that. It's true. So, you know, it's my responsibility to make sure that I'm well rested so that I can bring the best version of myself to my relationships, to this one, which is, you know, primarily important, to my relationship with my kids and with my friends, with clients. So rest is so important. So how do we operationalize rest, play, and creativity?
You have to be intentional.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you have to
pull out that calendar.
Right. And I mean, that sounds crazy, but you do. If you don't, just recently we had to pull up the calendar and plan when we were going to go paddleboarding down a river, right? I mean, if you're not intentional about it, if you don't make it happen, it's not going to happen, right?
Well, especially in that, really crazy busy period of time where there's so much other stuff on the calendar, and it almost feels like where, and you're looking at the days and you're like, where is this going to fit in? Well, if you don't put something on the calendar, it
won't fit in. Never will.
Never will. Right. And here's the thing, your marriage is important. It matters. And so where we spend time and energy, that shows what our values and priorities are, right? So if we're not doing that, then, by proxy, we're giving ourselves and the people around us the message that, this relationship doesn't matter.
Right.
And this is what's going to be around after those kids are grown and out of the house, right?
Well, and this is what your kids are going to carry forward as an example of what a healthy relationship looks like, right? Mm-hmm. So, and even, foundationally, even for our kids, it builds what is healthy there.
Yeah.
Your kids should know how to play.
So be intentional about it, right?
Right.
What are some examples of some things that are like rest and play and creative?
Well, obviously vacation and stuff is restful, right? But you don't have to do all that. You could just grab a book and read it and hang out together, or, do a puzzle together, or, for play, we tend to paddleboard together, but there's times where I like to hike, and, I think these things, whether they're doing them together or doing them individually too, because I think that's important as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I do think there's that time for you to have that rest and play and creativity for yourself, and that's what helps you bring the best part of yourself to the relationship, and then you do that as a couple. And again, it's hard to schedule, it's hard to fit in that time, because, let's say that playtime, a lot of times, I'll schedule like a girls' night out, and that's great and it's super important. But that can't always come at the cost of us doing something together as a couple.
Yeah, I know it sounds crazy. You got to work it all in,
In little bits, right? Realistically.
And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like I said, a puzzle together. Or, I enjoy watching movies. And that's not necessarily your thing all the time. And then there's times where we enjoy watching shows together and stuff. Those are all restful moments where your brain's kind of shut off and you're not doing that. Focusing on the next thing or whatever it is.
So, and then creative things. We tend to do artistic things like painting as creative things, but there are all kinds of different things that you can do as far as like cooking or gardening or whatever that looks like for you.
Trying to learn a music instrument.
Trying to learn the musical instruments. Yeah. So, any other tips?
I think you have to look for opportunities to be creative and to put play together. And like we said a minute ago, you really have to be intentional about it. And if you want to improve your relationship, I think this is where it starts.
And can I just throw this out there? Be honest with, I think it's important to be honest with yourself and as a couple about what that really looks like. There was a period of time when things were so busy and so chaotic that we used to tell ourselves like, oh, our time going through the grocery store.
Right.
That's date night.
That was so sad.
And sure, was that time for the two of us together that was kind of away from the kids and stuff? Yeah. So there was something to that. But let's be honest, that's not a date night, guys. That's not play.
Right.
There's nothing creative about that.
Right.
So, so sit down together, come up with a list of things that you guys enjoy doing individually and then together as a couple. And pull out the calendar and make it happen. If there are some other examples of things that you and your partner enjoy doing that are creative or play or for rest, we'd love to hear about them.
Sure, there's tons of things.
Yeah. So at Harper Therapy, we aim to be your home for hope, growth, and healing for your conflicted relationships. If there's something that we can do to help you with that, give us a call, 813-434-3639. Check us out online at harpertherapy.com. Otherwise, you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday fun day, and we'll talk to you soon.